Hello classmate and teacher, I will tell you about my book that is called The Curious Sincerity of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Hanson. First, I chose to read this book because the title looked very interesting to me, and also the cover of the book caught my attention because I feel sad when I imagine the dog. That made me want to know why they killed the dog. On the other hand, I will tell you a little about the structure of this book. The structure of this book is quite interesting because, unlike other books, this book is distributed in 17 chapters, which are marked by prime numbers. That is something that is not very common. For example, for me, this is the first book that I read which went with prime numbers, because books are normally divided by natural numbers. But in the case of this history, it's decided in this way because the protagonist is a mathematics lover and his favorite number are prime numbers. And the author based of the history in the protagonist because in the history of the book, he is who write the book. In my opinion, this is a good detail because it gives originality of the history. Another very interesting thing about this book is the author, because he was inspired by patient with multiple sclerosis and autism for write this book, because in one point of his life he shared time with them and he found very interesting how these people see the world. Now, I explain you a little about the characters of this history. The first character is Christopher. He is the protagonist of the history. He is a 15 years old boy who is very clear about what he likes and what he dislikes. He suffers from a disease that is autism, but he is happy. He lives in his own world. The second is his mother, that is called Judy. His mother is a person who has very little passion with him, even though she loves him very much. She doesn't have many things in common with Christopher, but she tries to understand him, even though it costs her. At the beginning of the history, they didn't have a very good relation, but this changes as the history goes on. The other is his father, called the Ed. They have several things in common. That's why they understand each other a lot of. They take good care of their son and try to make sure that he doesn't lack anything and that he is happy. They are quite confident. They love each other a lot of. The other is Sion. She is the teacher at Christopher's school, special school. She loves him very much, and she helps him like the other children at school. Christopher also trusts her a lot and asks her things that he doesn't understand. They spend many hours together and that makes a great friendship between them. To continue with Mr. Serge, she wants to help Christopher's father when his mother passed away. She and Christopher's father are very close friends and know each other a lot. She had a dog called Willow. The other one is Willow. It is a dog. Christopher likes dogs very much and has an special affection for them. Willow is the dog of Mr. Sarge. The other is Roger. He is the couple of Christopher's mother. He was the husband of Mr. Sarge, but they separated because he began a new relation with Christopher's mother. The other is Toby. Christopher loves the animals, so as a pet, he has a Toby mouse. It is white with a small brown spot on the back. He is very fond of him and takes a great care of him. And finally we had the old woman called Alexa. Is Christopher's neighbor and told him a bit about her family secret. Now I explain you the summary. The book tells the history of a 15-year-old boy with autism who seeks to overcome himself and be independent from his parents. So he must solve the case of the deaf dog of his neighbor. The history is full of mysterious, secrets, lies, another way of seeing the world, and ends in self-improvement. At the first of the book tells about self-improvement. The author draws Christopher wants to be conveyed to us the desire to become independent from his parents that he young man has. That is why this reading shows us the protagonist, who is a young man with autism, has a boy who, despite having different capacities and emotion towards other people, is able to live the same adventures that other people. That is why in the book we can see how Christopher is a genius in mathematics and can pass the exam that lists him as a mathematics. He is also a person capable of creating a book. It is important not to forget that he was able to solve the case of the dog that was killed. To finish, they leave us the most difficult part of self-improvement, and it is to leave our comfort zone. In the case of the protagonist, he had to make a trip to demonstrate to himself and others that he is capable of achieving all his goals without the help from others. Moreover, the author expressed in the reading about the secrets and lies that we hide from people and that usually harm them. In the case of this history, when the boy begins to investigate the case of the dog that was killed, he begins to discover some secrets about his family. First, Christopher's father decided to lie to him, telling that his mother is dead, so as not to harm him with the truth about his mother. Then Christopher discovers secrets with a series of letters written to his mother after his death. These letters are addressed to him, which led him to realize that his mother lived. This makes the boy feel uncomfortable and confused. It's for this reason that his father tells him the truth about his mother and confesses that he killed the dog of his neighbor. It's through this chapter that the author shows us how lies harm other relations with our family or friends, since after the boy's father confessed the truth to him, the young man distrusts his father and breaks his relationship with him. Furthermore, the author expresses through Christopher how the world works according to him, how tells us that everything must have an order, so that he feels safe and that he is a lover of mathematics, and his greatest wish is to get his degree in mathematics and going to college. Christopher explains to the readers how the world works for him and how his emotions and feelings are, because they are different from ours, and in the history he also explains us why he doesn't like people very much and prefers not to talk to them. The author tells us why it's important for him to tell the truth and why he doesn't like lies. In addition, the author explains us why he decided to write this book and how this will help him to improve himself. In general, it is a history that teaches us to improve ourselves and realize that we can achieve anything we want, not matter that other people tell us that we can. It also teaches us that many times to achieve our goals, we must leave our comfortable zone. Even if we are afraid, this helps us to grow as a person. Another important point is that the book shows us the consequence of lies and secrets and how this can harm others and damage our relationship with other people. Finally, the book shows us that for other people the world works differently, and we must respect the way of thinking of others and help them complete their dreams if they allow us, and wherever they have a different thought from ours.